My beloved child, stop for a moment. Do not scroll. Do not look away. Do not tell yourself that these words are meant for someone else, because heaven chose this very moment to reach you. Out of all the places you could be, out of all the messages you could have seen, your eyes stopped here for a reason. This is not an accident. This is not coincidence. This is not a random moment passing through your day. I, your heavenly Father, have guided your steps to this very second because there is something your heart needs to hear before this day comes to an end. Listen carefully. The world has been speaking fear over you. Your circumstances have been speaking doubt over you. Your waiting season has tried to convince you that nothing will ever change. But I tell you now, my child, heaven has not forgotten your name. I have seen every tear you tried to hide. I have heard every prayer you whispered when nobody else was listening. I have watched you carry burdens that became too heavy for your shoulders. And today, I am asking you to stop running, stop worrying, and stop believing that you have been abandoned. You are not alone. You have never been alone. Even when you felt surrounded by silence, I was beside you. Even when doors closed, I was protecting you. Even when your heart became weary, I was holding you together. There is a reason I brought you here today. There is a reason these words found you. Heaven has chosen this moment because your spirit needed confirmation. Your heart needed hope. Your soul needed to remember that I still move, I still speak, and I still perform miracles in the lives of my children. Do not rush through these words. Stay with me. Take a deep breath and allow your heart to become still. Something is shifting. Something that you cannot yet see is already moving. The prayers you thought were forgotten are being remembered. The doors you thought were closed forever are beginning to move. The answers you thought would never come are closer than you realize. My beloved child, before this day ends, I want you to remember one truth above all others. You are seen, you are loved, you are chosen, and heaven itself has arranged this very moment so that you would know that your story is not over. So stay with me. Keep your heart open, because what I am about to reveal may become the answer you have been waiting for all along. My beloved child, I want you to listen carefully to me now. There were many nights when you believed your prayers never reached heaven. You spoke my name through tears, through exhaustion, through disappointment, and you wondered if anyone was listening. You looked around and saw silence. You looked ahead and saw no answers. And slowly, your heart began to ask, Lord, have you forgotten me? But I tell you now, I heard every word. I heard the prayers you spoke out loud, and I heard the ones that never left your lips. I heard the cries hidden behind your smile. I heard the questions you were afraid to ask. Even when your faith felt weak, even when your voice trembled, even when all you could whisper was, help me, I was listening. There was not a single night that I turned away from you. I saw you lying awake when the world around you was asleep. I saw the tears that fell onto your pillow. I saw the worries that filled your mind before the sun even rose. I saw you carrying burdens that nobody else understood. You tried to remain strong for others while your own heart was growing weary. My child, you never suffered alone. When you sat in silence wondering why nothing was changing, I was beside you. When you asked why doors remained closed, I was holding your future in my hands. When you questioned your worth, I was reminding heaven of the promises I had already spoken over your life. You thought your prayers had disappeared. They did not. Every prayer rose before me. Every tear was counted. Every moment of faith was remembered. You prayed for healing. You prayed for peace. You prayed for answers. You prayed for restoration. You prayed for strength when you felt too weak to continue. And though you could not see my hand moving, I was already working behind the scenes. I was arranging circumstances. I was protecting you from things you could not understand. I was preparing answers that required time. I was building foundations strong enough to hold the blessings that were coming. You measured my silence as absence, but my silence was never abandonment. There were moments when you almost stopped praying. You told yourself that perhaps the answer would never come. Perhaps the miracle belonged to someone else. Perhaps your season had ended before it ever began. But still, something inside you continued to hope. That hope was me. That quiet voice telling you not to give up was me. That strength you found on the days you felt empty was me. I have carried you through days you do not even remember surviving. I stood beside you during battles that nobody knew you were fighting. I held your heart together when disappointment tried to break it apart. My beloved, heaven has never ignored your cries. Your prayers have been stored in my presence. Your faith has not been wasted. Your waiting has not been meaningless. I know how difficult it has been to continue believing when you could not see results. I know how painful it feels to watch others receive what you have prayed for. I know the questions that have echoed in your heart. When will my time come? When will things change? When will I finally see your hand? And today I answer you gently. Your prayers were never lost. Your name was never forgotten. Your tears were never ignored. I have seen everything. I have heard everything. And even now, as you read these words, heaven remembers every request you placed before me. The prayers you thought had fallen into silence are still alive in my hands. Do not believe the lie that says your faith was wasted. Do not believe the voice that tells you to stop hoping. The very prayers you thought I did not hear are the prayers I am preparing to answer. My child, hold your heart close to mine, because the story is not over. The waiting has not been in vain. And the God who heard you in your darkest night is still speaking to you now. My beloved child, there were seasons when you believed I had become silent. You prayed and heard nothing. You waited and saw nothing. You hoped and nothing seemed to change. The days became weeks. The weeks became months. And your heart slowly began to ask, Lord, where are you? You looked for signs. You searched for answers. You waited for doors to open. But all you could see was silence. And because you could not hear me, you thought I had left. But my child, my silence was never my absence. There are works that happen in the dark soil before the flower ever blooms. There are roots growing deep beneath the ground long before anyone sees the tree rise above the earth. The seed does not believe it has been abandoned simply because it cannot see the sun. It is being prepared, and so were you. While you thought nothing was happening, I was working beneath the surface of your life. I was moving pieces that your eyes could not yet see. I was arranging people, opening paths, closing dangerous doors, and protecting you from things you did not understand. You measured my presence by visible answers, but I was present even in the waiting. I was present when the phone never rang. I was present when the opportunity disappeared. I was present when people walked away. I was present when your prayers seemed to return to you unanswered. The silence frightened you because you believed silence meant rejection. But, my child, silence often means preparation. Think of the dawn. The sky remains dark for many hours before the first light appears. Yet even during the darkness, the sun is still rising. The earth continues turning. The morning is already on its way. In the same way, your answer was moving toward you while you believed nothing was changing. There were moments when disappointment made your heart tired. You stopped expecting good news because you wanted to protect yourself from being hurt again. You lowered your expectations. You told yourself that perhaps your prayers were too small to matter or too impossible to answer. But I never stopped listening. I never stopped working. I never stopped loving you. Even during your weakest days, I remained beside you. When tears became your language, I understood them. When your prayers became silent, I heard them. When your faith became small, I carried it for you. You believed that because heaven was quiet, heaven was empty. But heaven was busy. I was arranging details. I was preparing hearts. I was shifting circumstances. I was protecting your future. There are answers that require time because they involve more than one life. There are blessings that cannot arrive until every piece has been placed exactly where it belongs. There are doors that cannot open until your heart is ready to walk through them. My beloved, if I had answered too quickly, you might have received less than what I intended to give you. If I had opened certain doors sooner, they could have become burdens instead of blessings. If I had removed every struggle immediately, you would never have discovered how strong your faith could become. You thought I was late, but I was precise. You thought I was distant, but I was near. You thought I had forgotten, but I was remembering every promise I had spoken over your life. Even now, some things are moving that you cannot yet see. Some prayers are closer to being answered than you realize. Some doors are already beginning to open. Some hearts are already changing. Do not judge your future by your present silence. Do not measure my faithfulness by what your eyes can see. The greatest works often happen where human eyes cannot look. The roots grow underground. The child grows within the womb. The dawn rises while the world still sleeps. And miracles often begin in silence. My child, the season you called empty was not empty at all. It was sacred. It was in the silence that you learned to trust me. It was in the waiting that your faith grew deeper. It was in the darkness that you discovered my voice. You are not where you were before. The waiting has changed you. The struggle has refined you. The silence has taught you to seek me beyond what you can see. And now I tell you again, my silence was never my absence. I was with you in every unanswered prayer. I was with you in every lonely night. I was with you in every tear. I was with you in every moment. You thought you were walking alone, and because I never left you then, I will not leave you now. The same God who carried you through the silence is preparing to reveal why the waiting was necessary. Trust me a little longer, my child. For what seems quiet today may already be becoming tomorrow's testimony. My beloved child, there are moments in life when you look at closed doors and call them disappointment. You look at unanswered prayers and call them rejection. You look at delays and call them failure. But I tell you now, what felt like delay was often my protection. There were opportunities you begged me to give you that would have wounded your heart. There were relationships you desperately wanted to keep that would have led you away from the peace I had prepared for you. There were doors you cried over because they remained closed, not realizing that I was standing on the other side holding them shut for your own good. You asked me, why not now? And I answered with silence, because you were not yet able to see what I could see. I see the beginning and the end. I see the road ahead. I see the hidden dangers. I see the hearts of people. I see the consequences of every choice. And because I love you, I will never give you something simply because you ask for it. I give according to my wisdom, my timing, and my purpose. There were seasons when you thought I was delaying your blessing. But, my child, I was protecting your future. The relationship that ended was not the end of your story. The opportunity that disappeared was not the end of your purpose. The door that remained closed was not the end of your blessing. Many times, you stood before me asking why things had fallen apart. You could not understand why plans changed, why people walked away, why dreams seemed to disappear. But what you could not see was that I was redirecting your path. Every closed door carried protection. Every delay carried purpose. Every disappointment carried instruction. The world teaches you to believe that faster is always better. But I do not rush what is sacred. I do not hurry what is being prepared. I do not open doors before the proper time. If I had answered some prayers immediately, you would have walked into places that were never meant for you. If I had removed every obstacle, you might have mistaken temporary comfort for eternal purpose. If I had given you everything you wanted when you wanted it, you may have missed what you truly needed. My beloved, think about how many times you survived situations that once seemed impossible. Think about the people who left your life and the pain they caused. At the time, you believed you had lost something valuable, but now you can see that some endings were actually deliverance. Some delays were rescue. Some disappointments were protection. You cried over things that I was removing to make room for something better. You mourned doors that I was closing because greater doors were waiting ahead. You feared that you were falling behind while I was actually guiding your steps exactly where they needed to go. There were battles you never saw because I fought them for you. There were dangers you never knew because I protected you from them. There were mistakes you almost made that my hand prevented. Even now, there are things you do not understand. There are questions that remain unanswered. There are moments that still hurt when you remember them. But one day you will look back and say, now I understand. You will understand why the relationship ended. You will understand why the opportunity disappeared. You will understand why the answer took so long. You will understand why I asked you to wait. My child, waiting is not punishment. Waiting is often preparation. Waiting is protection. Waiting is the space where faith grows stronger and where hearts become ready for what heaven intends to give. I know there were times when you felt forgotten because others moved ahead while you remained still. You watched people receive blessings that you had prayed for. You wondered if your season had passed you by. But your season was never lost. Your timing was simply different. The fruit does not appear before the root is established. The sunrise does not arrive before the night has completed its purpose. The river does not reach the ocean by rushing. Everything beautiful has a season. Everything meaningful has a process. And you, my beloved child, have been walking through a process that is preparing you for something greater than you can presently imagine. Do not fear the doors that closed. Do not mourn forever the things that left. Do not believe that delay means denial. What you called rejection was often my protection. What you called loss was often my mercy. What you called silence was often my wisdom. I was guarding your future while you were grieving your present. And now, because you have continued to trust me, even with trembling faith, you are approaching the moment when the pieces will begin to make sense. The waiting has not been wasted. The tears have not been forgotten. The delays have not been meaningless. I have used every season to shape you, strengthen you, and prepare you. My child, trust the doors I closed. Trust the timing I chose. Trust the path I placed before you. Because the same hand that protected you yesterday is the hand that is leading you toward tomorrow. And what felt like delay will one day become the testimony of my faithfulness in your life. My beloved child, there is something I want you to understand today. The miracle you have been praying for did not begin the moment you noticed change. It began the moment you placed your faith into my hands. Long before you saw movement, I had already begun moving. Long before you felt hope again, I had already begun preparing your answer. Long before you believed anything could change, heaven had already set your miracle in motion. You often think that nothing is happening because your eyes cannot see it. You believe that silence means stillness. You believe that waiting means delay. But my child, many of the greatest things I do begin long before they become visible. The rain begins high above the earth before the first drop ever falls. The sunrise begins long before the sky becomes bright. The seed begins growing long before the flower appears. And your miracle began before you ever realized it. Even now, I am moving in places you cannot reach. I am touching hearts. I am opening doors. I am arranging conversations. I am changing circumstances. I am preparing opportunities. I am aligning people, places, and moments according to my perfect timing. You have asked me many times, Lord, when will I see something happen? And I tell you now, something is already happening. The answer may not yet be visible, but it is already moving toward you. There are people thinking about you whom you do not know. There are opportunities being prepared that you cannot yet see. There are doors quietly unlocking. There are situations changing. There are obstacles being removed. The hand of heaven is moving behind the scenes. My beloved, I am never idle. Even when you sleep, I work. Even when you cry, I work. Even when you doubt, I work. Even when you believe nothing is changing, I continue working on your behalf. The enemy wants you to believe that your situation is permanent. He wants you to think that the closed doors will remain closed forever. He wants you to believe that your prayers have reached their end. But I say to you, your story is still unfolding. There are moments when miracles happen suddenly because they have been building quietly for a very long time. What appears sudden to human eyes is often the result of my hidden work. A breakthrough may arrive in a single moment. A phone call may change everything. A conversation may open a new season. An unexpected opportunity may appear. A burden may suddenly lift. Peace may enter your heart without warning. And you will wonder, how did this happen? But I will tell you, I have been preparing it all along. My child, heaven does not forget its promises. Every word I have spoken over your life remains alive. Every purpose I have placed inside you remains active. Every blessing I have prepared still carries your name. Nothing has expired. Nothing has been canceled. Nothing has been abandoned. Even now, while you read these words, heaven is still moving. I am stirring compassion in places where there was indifference. I am opening hearts that once remained closed. I am bringing people into position. I am making crooked paths straight. I am arranging what only I can arrange. You may not understand why certain things had to happen. You may not understand why some doors remained closed while others disappeared completely. But I see the entire picture while you see only a single chapter. And because I see the ending, I know exactly when to move. Trust my timing. Trust my process. Trust my hand. The miracle that I am preparing is not simply about changing your circumstances. It is also about changing your heart. It is about teaching you to trust me beyond what you can see. It is about helping you discover that your hope does not depend on your situation, but on my faithfulness. There will come a moment when the pieces begin to fit together. You will look back and realize that I was moving during every season. You will understand that the waiting was not empty. You will see that every delay carried purpose. You will recognize that heaven had been arranging your miracle long before you could recognize it. My beloved child, do not become discouraged because the answer has not fully appeared. Do not give up because the breakthrough seems distant. Do not stop believing because you cannot yet see. The roots are growing. The dawn is approaching. The river is moving. The answer is coming. The miracle is already in motion. I am the God who makes ways where there are no ways. I am the God who opens doors no one can shut. I am the God who speaks life into dry places, and I am still writing your story. Very soon, you will begin to notice the signs. You will see small changes. You will feel new peace. You will sense new hope. You will recognize that something is different. And when that moment comes, remember this: you were never forgotten. You were never abandoned. Heaven had already begun moving before you ever saw the first sign. For the God who heard your prayers is the same God who is now setting your miracle into motion. My beloved child, before you continue listening, I want you to pause for a moment. If these words are speaking directly to your heart, do not ignore what you are feeling right now. Sometimes I use simple acts of faith to remind my children that they are not alone. If you believe that I am still working in your life, write these words in the comments. Yes, Lord, I trust your timing. Let that declaration become your prayer today. And if this message has brought peace to your heart, share it with someone who may be carrying a burden in silence. There are people around you who are waiting for hope, waiting for encouragement, waiting for a reminder that heaven has not forgotten them. Stay with me until the end, because what I am about to reveal may be the very confirmation you have been praying for. My child, keep your heart open. Your story is still being written, and the God who brought you here today is not finished speaking to you. My beloved child, there is something I need you to understand about the battles you have faced. The enemy rarely attacks what has no purpose. He rarely fights what carries no future. He rarely spends his strength on something that poses no threat. The reason the battle became so intense is because there is something inside you that heaven has placed there. There is a calling, a purpose, a promise, and a future that the enemy recognized long before you did. You asked me, Lord, why has life been so difficult? You wondered why fear followed you. You wondered why disappointment returned again and again. You wondered why relationships became painful, why doors closed, why anxiety increased, and why hope became difficult to hold. My child, the enemy attacked what he feared most. He feared your faith. He feared your future. He feared the testimony that would one day come from your pain. He feared the person you were becoming through the struggle. The battles you faced were not proof that I abandoned you. They were often proof that something valuable was growing within you. The enemy saw your potential before you saw it. He saw the strength that would rise from your weakness. He saw the faith that would survive the storm. He saw the blessing that was moving toward your life. And because he could not stop my purpose, he tried to discourage your heart. He whispered, "Nothing will change. You have waited too long. God has forgotten you. This message is not for you." But those words never came from me. I have never spoken hopelessness over your life. I have never told you to surrender to fear. I have never asked you to give up. My beloved, think about the battles you survived. You survived seasons that should have broken you. You survived nights when fear surrounded your mind. You survived disappointments that left deep wounds. You survived moments when your strength seemed gone. And yet you are still here. You are still praying. You are still seeking me. You are still believing, even if your faith feels small. That alone is evidence that my hand has been upon you. There were moments when the enemy tried to convince you that you were too weak, but weakness became the place where my strength carried you. There were moments when he tried to fill your mind with fear, but I continued speaking peace. There were moments when he tried to make you believe that your story had ended. But I had already written another chapter. My child, the attacks you faced were never greater than my protection. The storms you walked through were never greater than my presence. The darkness you experienced was never stronger than my light. You may not understand why certain battles lasted so long. You may not understand why certain wounds cut so deeply. But one day you will realize that the enemy attacked the very area where your future blessing would appear. He attacked your peace because peace was coming. He attacked your hope because breakthrough was near. He attacked your faith because your testimony would help others. He attacked your heart because I intended to heal it. The enemy fights hardest where heaven plans to move powerfully. That is why you must not judge your future by your current struggle. The battle is not the final chapter. The pain is not the final chapter. The waiting is not the final chapter. I am. My beloved child, I have never left you alone in the fight. Even when you could not feel me, I was standing beside you. Even when tears filled your eyes, I was holding your heart. Even when fear spoke loudly, my truth remained stronger. You have already survived things you once thought would destroy you. Look at how far you have come. Look at how many times you stood back up. Look at how many times grace carried you. That was not your strength alone. That was my hand. The enemy wanted you to quit before the blessing arrived. He wanted you to stop believing before the answer came. He wanted you to walk away before the door opened. But you are still here. And because you are still here, hope still lives. Faith still lives. Purpose still lives. My promises still live. Do not fear the battle, my child. The battle often reveals the value of what is being protected. Gold passes through fire because it is precious. Seeds fight through the soil because life is inside them. And your faith has endured because I placed something eternal within you. The enemy attacked what he feared most. He feared the future I prepared for you. He feared the miracle that is approaching. He feared the testimony that will rise from your pain. But he cannot stop what I have spoken. He cannot cancel what I have promised. He cannot destroy what I have chosen. Stand firm, my beloved. The battle does not mean defeat. It means the story is still unfolding. And the same God who carried you through every storm is preparing to lead you into a season of peace. For what the enemy meant for discouragement, I will use for testimony. What he meant for fear, I will use for faith. And what he attacked, I will restore with my love. My beloved child, how many times have you asked me for a sign? How many nights have you whispered, Lord, if you are still with me, show me something. How many mornings have you opened your eyes hoping that today would be different? You have asked for confirmation. You have asked for direction. You have asked me to remind you that you are not alone. And I want you to hear me clearly now. The sign you have been asking for is coming. For a long time, you believed that I had become silent. You searched for answers in circumstances, in people, and in situations that could never satisfy your heart. You wanted immediate proof. You wanted visible evidence. You wanted to know that your prayers had reached heaven. My child, I understand your desire. Even those who trust me can become tired while waiting. That is why I speak to you now with tenderness. The sign that is coming may not look the way you expect, but it will arrive exactly the way you need. It may come through a conversation. It may come through an unexpected message. It may come through a door that suddenly opens. It may come through peace entering your heart after a long season of fear. It may come through someone reaching out to you. It may come through an opportunity that appears at the exact moment you need it. Whatever form it takes, you will recognize my hand, because when I move, I leave peace behind. When I answer, I bring clarity. When I open doors, I also give strength to walk through them. My beloved, you have spent so much time looking for large miracles that sometimes you forget that I often begin with small signs. The gentle peace that suddenly enters your heart, the unexpected encouragement from a stranger, the scripture that appears exactly when you need it, the burden that suddenly becomes lighter, the hope that returns after months of despair. These are not accidents. These are reminders that I am near. Do not overlook the small things. Do not despise the quiet answers. For many miracles begin softly before they become visible. You have prayed, Lord, show me that you are still working. And I tell you now, I already am. I am arranging meetings. I am preparing opportunities. I am opening hearts. I am shifting circumstances. I am bringing together pieces that you cannot yet see. There are answers already moving toward you. There are blessings already assigned to your future. There are doors already beginning to open. The sign you seek is closer than you realize. But I also ask something of you. Keep your heart open. Do not allow disappointment to blind you. Do not let fear convince you that nothing good can happen. Do not let past pain prevent you from recognizing my presence. Because sometimes the greatest obstacle to receiving a sign is the belief that one will never come. My child, I have never stopped speaking. Sometimes I speak through peace. Sometimes I speak through waiting. Sometimes I speak through people. Sometimes I speak through closed doors. And sometimes I speak directly to your heart. Even now, perhaps as you read these words, you feel something stirring inside you. Perhaps hope is beginning to rise again. Perhaps the burden feels slightly lighter. Perhaps your heart is becoming calm. That is not coincidence. That is my presence. I know you have grown tired of disappointment. I know you have become cautious about hope. You tell yourself not to expect too much because you do not want to hurt again. But I say to you, hope again, believe again, expect again. The sign is not coming to condemn you. It is not coming to frighten you. It is coming to remind you that I have never abandoned you. You may soon receive a word that changes your perspective. You may encounter a moment that restores your faith. You may experience peace where fear once lived. You may see an answer appear where there was only silence. And when it happens, your spirit will recognize it. You will know that it is me. You will not need anyone to convince you. You will not need to search for proof. My peace will confirm it. My presence will surround it. My timing will reveal it. My beloved child, do not stop watching. Do not stop praying. Do not stop expecting my goodness. The sign you have asked for is not forgotten. The prayer you prayed is still alive. The answer you seek is still moving toward you. You have waited for confirmation. And I tell you now, the God who heard your cry is preparing to answer it. Stay close to me. Keep your eyes open. Keep your heart soft. For the sign you have longed to see may arrive when you least expect it. And when it comes, you will finally understand that I was with you all along. My beloved child, now that hope is beginning to return to your heart, there is something I must warn you about. Do not let fear steal this moment. For fear often arrives just before breakthrough. Doubt often speaks the loudest when answers are nearest. And discouragement often appears when the season is about to change. You have carried fear for so long that it has started to feel familiar. You have learned to expect disappointment because disappointment seems safer than hope. You told yourself not to believe too much, not to expect too much, not to dream too much, because you did not want your heart to break again. But, my child, fear was never meant to guide your life. Fear tells you that nothing will change. Fear tells you that your prayers were wasted. Fear tells you that you have waited too long. Fear tells you that this message is for someone else. But my voice says something different. I say that your story is not over. I say that your waiting has purpose. I say that your future remains in my hands. I say that my promises are still alive. The enemy cannot stop what I have spoken, so he often tries to make my children surrender before the answer arrives. He whispers that the battle will never end. He reminds you of past failures. He points to old disappointments. He uses your previous pain to convince you that your future will look the same. But, my beloved, your past does not decide your future. Your pain does not define your destiny. Your disappointments do not cancel my promises. You have survived difficult seasons before. You have walked through valleys that once seemed impossible to escape. There were days when you thought you would never smile again, never hope again, never recover again. Yet here you are. You are still standing. You are still breathing. You are still seeking me. And that itself is evidence that my grace has carried you. Fear wants you to focus on what might go wrong. Faith invites you to trust what I can make right. Fear says, what if you are disappointed again? Faith says, what if God is about to move? Fear says, nothing has changed. Faith says, something is already moving. Fear looks at the problem. Faith looks at the promise. My child, I know that hope can feel dangerous after disappointment. I know it feels easier to expect nothing than to believe again. But I did not create your heart to live in constant fear. I created you to trust me. I created you to walk by faith. I created you to live with hope. The storm may still be around you, but the storm does not control you. The waiting may still continue, but the waiting does not define you. The uncertainty may still exist, but uncertainty does not rule your future. I do. Do not allow fear to speak louder than my promises. Do not allow anxiety to become your counselor. Do not allow past pain to become your prophet. The enemy wants you to look backward. I am calling you forward. The enemy wants you to remember every disappointment. I want you to remember every time I carried you. Remember the doors I opened before. Remember the prayers I answered before. Remember the strength I gave you before. Remember the peace that returned after previous storms. I have been faithful before, and I remain faithful now. There may be moments in the coming days when doubt returns. There may be moments when circumstances seem unchanged. There may be moments when fear whispers old lies. When that happens, return to my voice. Listen to what I say about you. You are loved. You are chosen. You are not forgotten. You are not abandoned. You are not walking alone. My beloved child, I am asking you to release the fears that have burdened your heart. Release the fear of failure. Release the fear of rejection. Release the fear of waiting. Release the fear that nothing will change. Give those fears to me. You do not have to carry them anymore, because what lies ahead requires faith, not fear. The season I am leading you into requires trust. The blessing I am preparing requires an open heart. The peace I want to give you cannot grow where fear is allowed to rule. So breathe deeply, my child. Let my peace enter the places where anxiety has lived. Let my truth silence the lies that have followed you. Let hope rise again. For the God who brought you this far has not brought you here to abandon you. Do not let fear steal this moment. Do not let doubt rob you of hope. Do not let yesterday's pain prevent you from receiving tomorrow's blessing. Keep your heart open. Keep your eyes on me, because the same God who carried you through every storm is now leading you into a new season. And the fear that once ruled your heart will not have the final word. My love will, my promises will, my faithfulness will. And very soon, you will discover that what seemed impossible was simply waiting for the right moment to become reality. My beloved child, there is something important that I want you to see today. You are not the same person you were when this journey began. The person who first entered the waiting season is not the person who stands here now. The one who cried those first prayers, who trembled with fear, who wondered if they would survive another day, has been changed. You may not see it, you may not feel it, but you have changed. The waiting changed you. The struggles changed you. The prayers changed you. The tears changed you. And through every difficult season I was shaping your heart. There was a time when disappointment could completely destroy your peace. There was a time when rejection could define your worth. There was a time when fear could control your decisions. But look at how far you have come. You have survived things that once frightened you. You have endured seasons that once seemed impossible. You have continued walking even when your strength felt small. That is growth, my child. That is evidence that I have been working within you. You often pray for changed circumstances. But sometimes, I begin by changing the person who will receive the blessing. Before I open certain doors, I prepare the heart that will walk through them. Before I release the answer, I strengthen the hands that will hold it. You asked me to change your situation. And while I was preparing your future, I was also preparing you. The waiting taught you patience. The silence taught you trust. The pain taught you compassion. The uncertainty taught you faith. The battles taught you dependence upon me. There were lessons that could only be learned in the valley. There was strength that could only grow during the waiting. There was intimacy with me that could only be discovered through the struggle. My beloved, you are stronger than you realize. You are wiser than before. You are more compassionate than before. You are more patient than before. You are more dependent upon me than before. The old version of you may have given up by now. The old version of you may have walked away. The old version of you may have allowed fear to win. But you have continued. You have stayed. You have trusted me even with trembling faith. That is why you are ready for what is coming. Readiness is not perfection. You do not have to be flawless for me to bless you. You do not have to have every answer. You do not have to understand every detail. You simply need a willing heart, and your heart has been prepared. There were moments when you believed you were falling apart, but in reality, I was building something stronger inside you. The parts of you that depended entirely on circumstances were slowly being replaced by faith. The parts of you that sought security in people were learning to rest in me. The old fears are losing their power. The old wounds are beginning to heal. The old lies are no longer defining your identity. You are becoming who I created you to be. Do not compare yourself to the person you once were. Look at how much grace has carried you. Look at how much wisdom you have gained. Look at how many storms you have survived. Even if you still feel weak, you are stronger than before. Even if you still feel uncertain, you trust me more than before. Even if you still have questions, your faith has grown deeper. My child, the waiting season was not only about receiving something from me, it was also about becoming someone who trusts me, someone who hopes again, someone who walks by faith, someone who knows that my presence is enough. The blessing that is coming will meet a different version of you than the one who first began praying for it. And that is part of my design, because I do not simply answer prayers. I transform hearts. I shape lives. I prepare my children for the future I have written for them. Today, I want you to stop speaking to yourself as if you are still broken, still defeated, or still lost. You are growing. You are healing. You are becoming. You are not who you used to be. The waiting did not destroy you. The battle did not defeat you. The silence did not abandon you. Through every season, I have been making you stronger. And now, my beloved child, as you stand at the edge of a new season, remember this. You are not the same person who entered the storm. You are the person who survived it. You are the person who kept believing. You are the person my hand has carried. And because I have changed you, you are now ready to receive what I have been preparing all along. My beloved child, before this day comes to an end, I want you to remember what I have spoken to your heart. You have not been forgotten. You have not been abandoned. You have not been left behind. The journey may have been long. The waiting may have tested your faith. The silence may have stretched your heart beyond what you thought you could endure. But you are still here because my hand has never left you. And now I tell you something with great tenderness. Before this day ends, you will feel my presence. Perhaps it will not arrive with thunder. Perhaps it will not come through dramatic signs. Perhaps it will not appear the way you imagined. But you will know that I am near. You may suddenly feel peace where anxiety once lived. You may notice hope returning to your heart. You may feel a burden becoming lighter. You may experience a calm that you cannot explain. You may receive encouragement at exactly the right moment. You may see a small answer that reminds you I have been listening all along. My child, my presence often arrives quietly. I speak through peace. I speak through stillness. I speak through gentle reminders that you are loved. The world searches for loud miracles, but many of my greatest works begin in silence. Elijah did not find me in the wind. He did not find me in the earthquake. He found me in the gentle whisper. And perhaps today, my whisper is finding you. You have spent so much time asking me to change your circumstances that you forgot the greatest gift I can give is my presence. Before the answer fully arrives, I give you peace. Before the door opens, I give you strength. Before the blessing appears, I give you my presence. Because when you know that I am with you, fear begins to lose its power. Anxiety begins to loosen its grip. Doubt begins to fade, and hope begins to rise again. My beloved, the enemy wants you to focus on what you do not have. He wants you to count every delay, every disappointment, every unanswered question. But I want you to notice something different. Notice how far you have come. Notice how many times you survived. Notice how many prayers I have already answered. Notice how many times my grace carried you. Even in your hardest seasons, I was present. Even in your tears, I was present. Even in your loneliness, I was present. And I am present now. You do not have to earn my love. You do not have to prove your worth. You do not have to become perfect before I come near. I have always walked beside you. You are my beloved child. And because you belong to me, I refuse to leave you alone. Before this day ends, I want you to release your worries into my hands. Release the fear. Release the disappointment. Release the need to understand every detail. You do not have to carry tomorrow today. You do not have to solve every problem tonight. Rest in my presence. Let my peace settle over your mind. Let my love quiet your heart. For the answers you seek are not far away. The doors you have prayed for are not forgotten. The promises I have spoken are still alive. My child, there is a new season approaching. You may not see all of it yet, but you can already feel its beginning. The darkness is not permanent. The waiting is not endless. The silence is not forever. Morning always comes, the sun always rises, and hope always returns to the heart that continues to trust me. So tonight, before you sleep, remember these words. You are loved. You are seen. You are chosen. You are protected. You are not walking alone. And before this day ends, whether through peace, through comfort, through a small blessing, or through a quiet moment with me, you will know that I am near. The God who heard your first prayer still hears your voice. The God who carried you through every storm still holds your hand. The God who brought you to this moment still has beautiful things prepared for your future. So breathe deeply, my beloved. Keep your heart open. Look for my goodness. Expect my peace. And remember this above all. I have never stopped loving you. I have never stopped working for you. And I will never stop being with you. For before this day ends, you will feel my presence, and your heart will finally remember that you were never alone. My beloved child, one day you will look back on this season and understand what you cannot fully understand today. There will come a moment when the pieces finally come together. The questions that once filled your heart will begin to find their answers. The tears you cried in secret will make sense. The doors that remained closed will no longer feel like rejection. The delays that once frustrated you will reveal themselves as protection. And you will say, Lord, now I understand. You will understand why certain people had to leave. You will understand why certain prayers took longer than you hoped. You will understand why some dreams had to wait. You will understand why the road became difficult. What feels confusing now will one day become part of your testimony. For I have never wasted your pain. I have never wasted your waiting. I have never wasted your tears. Every difficult season has been shaping something within you. Every battle has taught you to trust me more deeply. Every disappointment has prepared your heart to recognize my faithfulness. You believed you were losing time, but I was preparing eternity's purpose. You believed you were standing still, but I was leading you step by step. You believed the story had stopped, but I was writing chapters that you could not yet see. My child, there are blessings that only make sense after the waiting. There are answers that only become clear after the journey. There are miracles that can only be understood when you finally look back and see how my hand was present in every moment. One day you will remember these nights of prayer. You will remember the tears. You will remember the uncertainty. And instead of pain, you will feel gratitude. Because you will see that I never abandoned you. I never forgot you. I never stopped working. The same God who carried you through the silence will walk with you into the promise. The same God who protected you through the waiting will bless you in the appointed season. The same God who held your heart during the storm will fill your future with peace. So do not lose heart now. Do not give up at the edge of your season. Do not believe that your story ends here. The waiting has purpose. The delay has meaning. The silence has been preparing something beautiful. And one day, my beloved child, you will look back on this chapter and realize that what seemed like the hardest season of your life became the very place where you discovered my faithfulness. Until that day comes, keep trusting me. Keep walking with me. Keep believing. For the God who began this story with you is the same God who will faithfully bring it to completion. And when you finally understand why you had to wait, your heart will whisper these words. Lord, you were with me the entire time. Heavenly Father, today we come before you with humble hearts. Thank you for speaking to us, for reminding us that we are never forgotten, never abandoned, and never alone. Lord, you know every burden we carry. You know the prayers we have prayed in secret, the tears we have cried in the darkness, and the battles we have fought that nobody else could see. Today, we place all our fears into your hands. We surrender our worries, our disappointments, our doubts, and our unanswered questions to you. Father, fill every heart listening to this prayer with your peace. Where there is fear, bring faith. Where there is sorrow, bring comfort. Where there is confusion, bring wisdom. Where there is waiting, bring hope. Help us trust your timing even when we cannot understand your plans. Teach us to walk by faith and not by sight. Remind us that every delay has purpose and every season is held in your hands. Lord Jesus, surround your children with your love. Open the doors that need to be opened. Heal the hearts that have been wounded. Restore the dreams that seem lost. Strengthen those who feel weary and lift those who feel discouraged. May your presence fill every home, every heart, and every situation right now. Let your peace settle over us and remind us that you are working even when we cannot see it. Thank you for never leaving us. Thank you for carrying us through every storm. Thank you for the blessings, the healing, and the new season that you are preparing. We trust you, we follow you, and we place our future completely in your hands. In the mighty name of Jesus we pray. Amen. My beloved child, before you leave this message, I want you to make one declaration of faith. If these words have spoken to your heart, if you believe that God is still working in your life, write these words in the comments. Yes, Lord, I trust your timing. Let those words become your prayer. Let them become your surrender. Let them become your reminder that heaven has not forgotten you. Perhaps you arrived here feeling tired. Perhaps you arrived carrying fear, disappointment, or questions that nobody else could answer. But I pray that you leave this moment with hope. Hope that God is still working. Hope that your story is not over. Hope that your waiting has purpose. Hope that your prayers have been heard. Remember, you are not alone in your journey. There are others praying, believing, and waiting just like you. By sharing your faith, you may encourage someone who is fighting a battle in silence. If this message blessed your heart, take a moment to share it with someone who may need hope today. A simple act of kindness can become the answer to another person's prayer. And if you would like to continue receiving messages of faith, encouragement, and hope, be sure to subscribe and stay connected with this community of believers. My beloved child, go forward today with peace. Walk forward with faith. Expect God's goodness. Trust His timing. For the God who carried you through the waiting is the same God who will lead you into your blessing. And always remember, you are loved. You are chosen. You are never forgotten. May the peace of Christ guard your heart, strengthen your faith, and guide your steps until the day you see every promise fulfilled. God bless you, and never stop believing.